Now, considering this is my very first video, I hope you I'm gonna start out a little bit too strong, but why start slow, right? So I want to talk about a very interesting scenario that was trending in the internet just sometime. That country, the government said, it's no longer legal to marry children, right? It's no longer legal to marry children because they had allowed it. It was not illegal to marry a child because they were basing it on traditions, they were basing it on cultures, right? It's a culture, it's something that has been done for a long time. But what people forget is that you can do something for a long time, you can be doing something for a very long time. It has been passed down generations to generations, but it does not make it right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Now you find these people who are taking children as young as 9 years. That person does not even consider that the girl barely knows what's happening. The girl has not even identified herself as a girl. She doesn't even know the roles of a female. She doesn't even know the changes that her body is going to experience in the next 2-3 years. She just wants to play. She just wants to eat. She just wants to go and have fun. You know what I'm saying? She just wants to be a child. Now, when a grown man who has 4 to 5 wives wants to marry a child and the parents of that child thinks it's right, then that's the problem right there. And I don't want to say that it's the whole country that is doing it. It's just part of the country is doing it, right? Part of it, they're doing it in the name of this beautiful, beautiful, colorful blanket called culture. We're just here to understand some few things that are called cultural, right? We don't want to question culture, just trying to understand what led to this, right? It took just one man to envy a child. It took just one man to admire a child. Something must start somewhere. It just took someone and said, oh, you know what? 9 is old enough for someone to make a wife. And you're 56 years old, you drunken old person. Now the video was circulating and the guys were crying. If you see the man who is crying because they have been told not to marry a child, you will be surprised. Now the families that accept this kind of behavior mostly are poor families. Let's talk about female genital cutting, right? The girl has no chance of saying no. Because let's talk. Okay, fine. What are we cutting though? What's there to cut? In the claim of transitioning. Really? Did anybody just sit and ask, okay, what are the benefits this ceremony is going to offer to a girl? And I'm talking about it because it's still happening. It's just not talked about because it's not being broadcasted. It's still happening in those shady places. It's still happening because of some people who have refused to evolve, who have refused to accept that it's wrong. That's why it's still happening. And it's not broadcasted because they're doing it while they're hiding themselves. But it's still there. A girl posted on TikTok and she was talking about how she hates her aunt because her aunt took her and they did that to her. And now she says, I don't feel nothing. And I hate myself. And even if people don't know it, I know. And I hate that. She feels like she's not worthy. She feels like there's something missing. Why? Because someone just decided, you know what, this is the right thing to do. And they did the rituals to make it a culture. And I thank God, like the generations are changing that norm, I thank God for that. And I hope in the 10th or 5th generation, this thing will be a fully thing of the past. I only thought like in Africa, these things are happening in Africa. Until I found out even in other places, they're happening too. They're happening. Early marriages are wrong. Female genital cutting is wrong. is very wrong. A 10-year-old is able to cater for a 1-year-old child, is able to carry through pregnancy. Really? If you're 30 years old and you feel like pregnancy will drive you insane, what about a child? All these cultures were formed to just misuse a woman. All these cultures were formed to mistreat a woman. Now, when a woman decides to leave, right? When a woman decides to leave their home or their house, the society comes in an angle that wants to demean that woman. You know, they want to label that woman as a prostitute. They want to label that woman as someone who is not righteous. They want to label that woman names. They want to judge that woman. They want to seclude that woman and show that, oh, that's a bad example. So, because what do you mean? What do you mean that someone says, if you want to be friends with her and she's a single mother and you're married, you will leave your husband? Really? Really? Now, okay, fine. Away from that. So, there's another very interesting aspect I just learned, and that's what triggered this video actually. That you are married, there's bride price, right? But when that person says, I don't want you anymore, or you decide you don't want him anymore, your family will take the bride price and return it to the guy. What? What? You can feel the silence, right? You can feel it. Yeah, you can feel it. Because what do you mean? Like, I gave you my virginity. I gave you my body. I gave birth so that your lineage can continue. I accept you to sleep with me the way you want, even when I don't feel like it. Because that's my wifely duties, right? How it only takes so far for you to say no. You can only say no for so long. And you just, even with all the pleasure, you just honor. Because that's what a wife does, right? So after all that and the trauma, let's not forget the trauma of living with that person, the trauma of living with that guy, with that man, all the shit you had to handle all through those years. They took you when you were a girl. Now you're living when you're 40s with children. You're old and your life has been wasted. Your sweat, washing those clothes, cooking every day, taking all the garbage all the single day. And you want to tell me, when I want to go out, I return the bride price? Okay, fine. These traditions, they were formed to downgrade a woman. That's all I can say. Most of these traditions, most of these cultures, they were formed to downgrade a woman. They were formed to discredit a woman. They were formed to silence a woman. Because a woman is seen as just serve and go. You know, they are not seen as nurturers. They are not seen as builders. They are not seen as supporters, you know, just support and go. That's why you find the woman of today is pushing back against the narrative of the society's expectations, right? And now they're being called rebellious. When a woman says right now, they're not giving birth, they're not getting married, you know, like the men should have the vasectomy, not the woman. Not the woman should have family planning. The man should have vasectomy, right? When a woman says, I can have a child when I need to have a child, now everybody is up in arms. When a woman just wakes up in the morning, takes her beautiful suitcase and walks out, leaves the man with the child, all of a sudden it's rebellious now. Wow, it's rebellious. You know, they are more aware of themselves. They are more aware of their powers. They are more aware of how much they can do and how much they deserve. And now the society right now is not ready for that. You're not ready for a child-free woman. You're not. You're not ready for a single mother. You're not. You're not ready for woman leadership. You're just not. Women are given support roles. It's so rare. It's so shocking when you see a woman who is a CEO. You, oh, she's wow. But for a man, you'll see, oh, it's normal. Why? Because you don't expect so much from a woman. That's why. Because you don't expect so much from a woman. Woman just plays the supportive roles. You find the woman is the HR. You find the woman is the manager or something. Because supporting, you're just supporting. But the important roles, the decision-making roles, it's work of the man. It's work of the man. Now, these cultures and traditions are shaping the woman that is present today. Now, we're going to have a part 2. We're going to have a part 3. It's a whole series. Make sure you tune in. Don't forget to subscribe. I love you so much. Like this video, share this video, because it's going to create that awareness and it's going to spark the conversation we need to talk about so that we can continue empowering women in our societies, in our communities. And thank you so much for the support. I love you so much. Bye.